Hi, today I'll be reviewing the book Night by Elie Wiesel, and before I do, I wanted to just take a moment to talk about the author. He is an author, obviously. He has written 21 books, Night being his first book. He was born in the town of Szeged. He is a Nobel Peace Prize winner. He's a professor. And he's also a Holocaust survivor. So this story is his memoir of the Holocaust. And I think it looks extremely short to be like his whole story, but he is an amazing writer. He doesn't waste his words. I was honestly never bored with this book. And I didn't like that it was a memoir. I like that it was a memoir because I knew that he would survive. So if I thought he was about to die, I was like, nope, he doesn't die. So I really liked having that in the back of my mind while I was reading the story. But I didn't like that it wasn't a memoir because a lot of horrible things happened. I mean, people died, obviously, but it's one thing reading a statistic off of a history book, and it's another just being taken on this journey of something so unrealistic, knowing that this all really happened and that these are true events. I didn't choose to read this book. It was actually a school requirement, and since it was a school requirement to read this book, my expectations for it just lowered. All I knew about it was that it was a memoir and it was about the Holocaust, and I didn't really have high expectations for it just because the cover doesn't look that great, but it's an old book, so maybe it was a really cool cover at the time. I will have a synopsis linked in the bottom bar, but now I will get on with this story. Obviously, the main character is Elie Wiesel. He lives in a town of Szeged with his family. They live in a ghetto, then they get moved to a smaller ghetto. They were taken on these cattle wagons. They just packed on as many people as they could, and they drove them off to either a concentration camp, death camp, work camp, and that's where the story starts, really. But the wagon ride, there was this lady. She was going insane. She was a mother. She said that she saw flames and burning, and she saw it, and people were looking out the windows and there was no fire, and she kept on screaming fire, and she had a son, and the son was embarrassed because, I mean, he was obviously already scared and his mother was going crazy at the same time he was being taken away from his home. Just already a bad experience to begin with. I mean, already everyone has such a bad feeling about it, and this lady was making it worse. But when they actually got to the concentration camps, they saw like these fumes and smoke, and there was actually a fire. They get to the concentration camp and they smell the burning flesh of humans, and still it hasn't hit most of them that they are going to die. One of the saddest quotes of this book was "men to the left and women to the right," because that was the last time Elie Wiesel saw his mother and his sisters, and they most likely died. They probably didn't pass off the first selection, and the selection is when they picked who would be worthy to work and who would actually be just sent straight to a gas chamber. A bunch of people died, obviously. I mean, it was a death camp, but still there were a few people that were able to make it through this entire horrible experience. And once they were freed and they ate food, they died because their digestive system could not handle having so much food since they had been starving for years. And so they died of having too much food rather than of starvation, which is the probable thing. And there's just irony throughout this entire novel. But what I liked about this novel specifically is the turtle. Whenever I read a passage that was just really sad, I could just flip to the ending and there were just turtles. and that's probably because, I don't know, definitely has nothing to do with the novels, because I picked up another novel and it didn't have the turtles, so I made sure to pick up the novel that did have the turtles to show you guys that's sort of how I got through this book. And I like turtles. Honestly, I don't know if I would recommend this book. I mean, if someone were to ask if it was a good book, yes. But would I recommend it? It depends who was asking. I would most likely say yes, but if you're like, if it's like a little kid, like I wouldn't recommend reading this to a little kid as a bedtime story. It honestly made me think more about the Holocaust, and it brought up two main questions. So the first question I've always had was, why did people follow Hitler? And if you've had that same question, then you should just read The Wave or watch the movie. It's an appropriate book for anyone, and it just explains why people would follow other people and how one little group could like influence an entire society almost. And my second question is, why didn't people speak up? What if the Pope said what we're doing is wrong? I mean, would they kill the Pope? Because obviously if like a Jewish person said like, I don't really agree, like they would just get shot or killed. That's all I have to say. Thanks for making it to the end of my video, and I love you for watching. Bye!